The defendant then left the apartment and walked into the leasing office of the Hamptons complex, where he announced to multiple individuals who were present there in the leasing office that he had killed his 2 roommates.
I feel that I can be an advocate against extremism, and I'd like to take this moment to tell the world to stay away from extremist groups and tell that I want to try to dedicate my life to getting people away from militant movements and stuff like that.
Amidst hidden truths, a man's scary story reveals a web of lies and danger, where what's real is as fragile as a whisper in the dark. Devin Arthur's haunting past meets a mysterious present, leaving behind unsettling mysteries waiting to be solved. This video features an interview with a man involved in the tragic shooting of his 2 roommates, Andrew Onshuk and Jeremy Himmelman. The individuals involved, Brandon Russell and Devin Arthurs, formed a bond rooted in their shared extreme beliefs, seeking belonging and structure for different personal reasons. Despite Onshuk and Himmelman distancing themselves from these beliefs, the appeal of a rent-free apartment and access to fishing was too tempting to refuse. Arthurs initially quoted mockery over his religious conversion as the reason for his actions toward the police upon arrest. However, his narrative swiftly shifted, portraying himself as a hero who stopped his roommate's plans despite Russell being absent due to National Guard duties. Arthurs fatally shot Onshuk and Himmelman while Russell was away. Later, he entered a local smoke shop, took 3 hostages, and then surrendered to law enforcement, revealing his responsibility for the deaths of his roommates in their shared apartment.
I want to start this out with.
Well, you know what, you'd be surprised, man. Unfortunately, most of the people that they talk to me about this, they don't say stuff like that. So
they themselves were not.
Well, but I'll tell you what, I don't mean to interrupt you, sir, but before we get into all that,
yes, sir.
Before we get into the meat and potatoes, so to speak,
Yes, sir.
I have to read you some things and go over some formalities.
Okay.
Okay. Once my partner gets in here, we'll go that route, right? I'm gonna start a recording here, so it's all documented or memorialized, okay?
Yeah.
For the record, my name is Kenny Necklinger. I'm a detective with Tampa Police. This is Gary Sandell, also detective with Tampa Police. We're here at 411 North Franklin Street Police Headquarters in reference to a homicide investigation. And that investigation case number is 17-260921. The date is May 20th, 2017. It's about 1:24 a.m. Also here with us is, sir, can you state your name for the record, please?
My name is Devin Sean Ryan Arthurs.
And your date of birth, please?
My date of birth is March 18th, 1999.
Okay. And Devin, before I read you, you're familiar with your Miranda warnings?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever had them read to you before?
I had them read to me by a police officer on the way here.
On the way here, you read them to you? Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. Did you understand them when the officer read them to you? Did you have any questions about it?
No, I don't have any questions.
I'm going to read them to you again, so forgive me. I'm not to insult you, but it's just that we have to. It's for your protection.
Yeah.
And before I do that, I want to make sure that I'm dealing with an individual here who has a clear mind. Are you under the influence of any narcotics or alcohol or any?
I'm completely sober.
Okay. No prescribed medication, no cold medicine, nothing at all.
No.
Okay. Have you ever been diagnosed with any kind of mental illness or anything like that might prevent you from having a conversation where you understand what I'm saying and I understand what you're saying?
No, I don't. I've never been prescribed with that. But I wish I went to a hospital before this. I wish I had listened to my family and just I wish I had followed what they were recommending me to do and stuff like that.
What's that regarding?
Regarding me going over there and going to get help.
Arthurs acknowledged his family's desire for him to seek help, a step he now realizes might have been necessary. However, tragically, this realization comes too late for his roommates, Onshuk and Himmelman.
Or something like that.
Okay. Is this something you discussed with your family in the past?
Yeah, it was mainly over depression and stuff like that. And, it was never anything to this severity. Never. Yeah.
Are you taking any medication at all? You never got to that point.
Never got to that point.
Okay. So up to this point, you've been able to understand any conversations you've had with any other officers or any other individuals you come across?
Yeah.
You're understanding our conversation so far with no problem?
Yes, I am.
Okay. With that being said, what I'm going to do is, again, not to insult you, but I have to, just to make sure that you're going to be able to follow along with me. Your education level, how far did you go in school?
I dropped out of school.
And what grade?
I dropped out at 10th grade.
10th grade?
Yes.
Okay, did you go to school here in Tampa?
No, I went to school in Orlando.
Orlando?
Yeah, I went to Lake Howell High School.
Okay, and in 10th grade, did you complete 10th grade?
No, I left midway in.
Okay. Do you know how to read and write, though, the English language?
Yeah.
Okay, do you speak or write any other language?
No.
Okay. I'm going to ask that you follow along with me. I'm going to read it out loud. I'm going to ask you to follow here with me as well, but if you have any problems or any questions, I'm going to stop at the end of each sentence. You just feel comfortable in asking me to explain it further, okay? All right. And for the record, I'm reading from TPD Form 310, and it's consent to be interviewed concerning an offense of, and as we've already discussed, as you've already made aware, it's a homicide investigation.
Okay.
Okay. This says you have the right to remain silent. You understand what that means?
Yeah, of course.
If you give up the right to remain silent, anything you say can be used against you in court. You understand what that means?
Yes.
You have the right to consult with an attorney before you make a statement or answer any question, and the right to have an attorney present during questioning. You understand that?
Yes, I do.
If you want an attorney but cannot afford to hire an attorney, who won't be appointed to represent you before and during questioning free of charge. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You have the right to use any of these rights at any time you want during the interview, and you may stop the interview at any time. Do you understand all that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. With these rights in mind, I'm going to ask this sentence right here, I, and if you are willing to talk to me now, write your name in here. I've had these rights read to me. I understand them, and I'm willing to talk at this time. No threats or promises of any kind have been made to coerce me to make a statement. Do you understand that last part?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you understand these rights, I ask that you print your name here,
Yeah.
print and sign at the bottom, and then your initials up there as well.
Right here?
You can, initials right there.
Do I check that, or do I?
You can, yeah, you can check it.
Okay.
There you go.
And then I put right my name.
Initials here,
Oh, okay, my bad.
and then print your name on that line.
All right.
And then down here, sorry, one more time, print and sign, please.
All right.
All I'm going to do right here is I'm going to write my name and Detective Sandel's name. And again, this is the 20th day of May.
All right. Before we begin like this, when we go to the jail, can I please speak to the doctors there? They told me that I can talk to doctors when I get there.
Of course. I don't run the jail.
Yeah.
But when we get there, we'll explain. Are you feeling any physical ailments right now?
And all we ever want is the honest truth. That's all
All
I
right.
want.
I'll give you that.
Okay.
These people, I'll tell you exactly what happened today.
Yeah, take it from the beginning, man.
So I remember I woke up.
Yeah, tell me about that. What's that all about?
Adam Waffen Division is a terrorist organization. It's a neo-Nazi organization that I was a part of before I converted.
What's it called?
Adam Waffen Division.
Okay.
And I remember my roommate Brandon. He's alive. The guy that was in the American uniform.
Uh-huh.
I hope he gets his shit together. I hope he gets his life together. He's a good person. But the things that they were planning were horrible. They're planning bombings and stuff like that on countless people. They're planning to kill civilian life.
Well, were they specific in their plans?
Power lines, nuclear reactors, synagogues, things like that. And the reason why, I mention this is because it's self-evident. You go into the place, there's a giant Azov Regiment flag that's in the background. Azov Regiment is an organization in Ukraine, which is an NS movement that crucifies people and has harmed a lot of people, and that came directly from there. These people were not good people, is what I'm trying to say.
Came directly from where?
Came directly from Ukraine, from the conflict. And
Okay, you came from Ukraine. Okay.
No, excuse me, no, I didn't come from there. The flag did. I'm saying that I'm saying for context.
Brandon, Devin, how did you end up at that apartment? How did you move in with them, and how did that go?
I'll explain. So like I remember when I was I'll just start from the beginning of like these beliefs and stuff like that. So
That's fine.
when I was 14, I first like started getting into these organizations and stuff like that.
Which organizations?
Neo-Nazis in the beginning. And I remember like I converted when I was 17.
Converted to what?
Islam. I remember I was like I outgrew like the racist sentiments. I was like, this is silly. And, I watched, like, I'll be honest, like, I'm sympathetic with groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS and stuff like that. And I was very, very angry about the coalition bombing. So, I mean, that day I was watching videos of infants that were killed by American bombs.
Which day was that, today?
Yeah, and that's what was driving me crazy. It's like, that was getting me. And I was also seeing the posts that was being made in an encrypted chat by other members about how they want to kill blacks and how they want to kill
members of what?
The same organizations,
Which organizations?
Adam Buff and
that one, the one that you were formerly a part of.
Yeah, formerly a part of. And I was living there because I was living primarily with the guy in the American uniform, the Brandon. And he's a decent human being that can be reasoned with.
What exactly did you say?
They would say stuff like, I want to blow up refugee ships. They would say stuff like they want to go target like blacks, like how Dylan Roof did. These people, they were not just innocent people. They weren't just my roommates, is what I mean.
Have they ever done any bad things, specifically that you know about? Maybe that you were a part of, that you weren't part of?
I was never a part. We never targeted anybody, but we had plans. We had guys in the American military that literally would go to like bases and steal huge amounts of equipment. We're talking Kevlar, night vision, stuff like that, for the intent of criminal activity, i.e., targeting government structures, targeting people.
This is part of the group that you were that you were a part of? Or?
Yes, sir. Not to mention, like the morality of this group and how these people think. I remember. I did this in the past. I remember when we would help Azov Regiment in Ukraine by hacking telecommunication networks that were held by the separatists, right? So we hacked factories and we shut down electricity. And I remember there was an article that a factory got shut down and 12 people had died, like frozen to death, and I was horrified by that. I was absolutely mortified.
Because you were a part of that?
Yeah, I was mortified. I remember, and it was horrifying because I knew that nothing would ever come out of it. I would wake up each morning, the mom would tell me, like, good morning, and they had no idea. And I remember I brought this up to a few people that are part of the organization, and they just started laughing about it. They thought it was the funniest thing, and I was horrified by it. And it's like, I'm such an idiot for still living in that situation, for being in there, being at that apartment.
How long have you been there?
I've been there for several months. That's it.
Several months? Because my understanding is that Brandon just rented that apartment probably about a month and a half ago.
Yeah, about a month and a half, excuse me.
Okay, so you've been there about since he rented it?
Yeah.
Okay. And how about the other two guys? Were they part of it?
They've been here for a few weeks.
Oh, so you were first in there, they moved in after you?
Yeah.
Okay.
These people would laugh about the concept of, like, blowing up, like, refugee ships. And they had the explosives, they had the plans, they had the encrypted conversations.
These two individuals, or?
The entire organization.
Okay.
And it's like, and the thing that gets me is berserk by what they said.
How long had you known these guys?
I've known these guys almost for a year.
Okay. Where'd you first meet them?
Met them online first. And then I went up to Boston with Brandon, and I hung out with them for
You met Brandon online as well?
Yeah.
Okay. On a specific site? Was it the site you
It
mentioned?
doesn't exist anymore.
What was it called?
It was called tinychat.com, third position. It was just tinychat.com.
Tiny Chat?
It doesn't, yeah, tinychat.
Like small, tiny.
Yeah, but the thing is that tinychat is like kind of like YouTube. It had a huge amount of channels and stuff like that on there. The real site where fascists like organize and stuff is called Iron March, and then you also have Stormfront. And
Is that that's like a social media group for those? Okay.
Iron March, it's a whole website. And I know everything about that site and the people that are behind this shit. And I remember...
The detective grants Arthurs the freedom to speak without much guidance, and Arthurs appears burdened with a lot to share. The content of his revelations is deeply unsettling, as he mentions various locations that will likely require investigation. However, it's highly probable that these sites are already under surveillance.
I just feel, because of
Why is that?
when the police showed up to the location, they saw that there was explosives in the garage. They can, if they access the computers, they can find that there's a lot of encrypted chats for the organization itself. It'd be easy to track down each member.
Are these three guys prominent members of those organizations?
Brandon's the leader of the organization.
He is?
Yeah, and I was a senior leader at one point, and I remember.
How many guys you got following you guys? How many guys are part of this organization?
60 to 70.
Throughout the world? Throughout the country?
Throughout the country. And these people were basically, if you're familiar with like the Order of Bob Matthews or whatever, he was a guy that killed like a bunch of federal agents and stuff like that. Like that's basically who they venerate. And these people, they have no human empathy like we do. Like it's hard to describe. I wish that if I could go back and do something over, I would sign myself into a hospital to work about my anger issues and my rational thinking skills, which I don't think is at par of like.
But I think this goes beyond anger issues. I think it's something a little deeper for you. I think it's more of it's a passion that you're passionate about doing good for people. Tell these guys today. Walk me through today. You're there all day. The three of you guys.
Yeah, we were there all day, except he was at work for a little bit of it. He was at a recycling plant working, and I remember he came home. I remember like I was on the encrypted chat. They're saying all this stuff like
What's this encrypted chat?
It's a thing called Wire, and
WIRE. Wire.
Yeah, Wire. It's an encrypted chat, and there's an Adam Buffett chat on there. People are like talking about like bombings, robbing, raiding military bases and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yes, and
let me ask you this, and forgive me, I'm just trying to. You're educating me in this whole process, so I'm going to ask questions as a student sitting here. Is you believe you have a faith? You said. What is your faith?
I'm a Muslim.
Okay. Does that coincide with this organization you're part of?
No, not at all.
So how long have you been a Muslim?
I've been a Muslim since June of 2016.
Okay, so fairly recently.
Yeah.
Have you still maintained a part in this organization, or is that about when your ties to this organization were cut?
My main ties to this organization is like I was a part of it out of necessity. I needed a place to stay away from my family. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I should have lived with them. I was just trying to get out of the house and stuff like that. And I would try to I managed to convince some people to like drop a lot of these beliefs and stuff like that. And I can feel thankful that I've done something like that. That's why I was a part of it. It was mainly to try to get people away from the shit and try to basically.
That's when you first joined up?
No, I was already part of it when I converted. When I converted, I was like, I got it. While I'm in here, I can't just leave it. If I left it, then I'd probably be killed or something like that. But if I'd either be killed or something in that nature. But if I didn't do that, then when it comes down to it, then I might as well try to convince people while I'm there, basically convince people, don't do this, don't throw your life away.
But you made no secret about it to even Brandon, I imagine, of your faith, right? They knew what you were about.
Yeah.
And they still tolerated you.
Yeah, they still tolerated. Yeah, they did barely.
Arthur's assertion raises a confusing point. He alleges that his roommates harbored animosity toward individuals of his faith and had sinister intentions aligned with those views. However, this claim raises doubts, considering they continued to accommodate his stay. The inconsistency in their behavior doesn't quite align with Arthur's narrative.
Why?
I honestly don't really know. I think Brandon has a true connection with me.
Okay.
Which computer are you talking about that with this encrypted chat?
Every computer in that house.
But the one that you saw, were you watching?
Yeah, it was my computer, my personal tower.
Where is that one?
It's in my condo. You'll find I pay a lot of attention to Syria and Iraq, the conflicts over there.
But inside the condo.
Yeah,
there's 2 bedrooms and a main. And
it's the living room.
Which one's your room?
The living room is where I keep my computer.
Okay, so that one right there, the one that's in the corner there, the main. Looks like a TV in the corner. That's your setup.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's essentially your room.
Yeah. So I remember you were in the other room. You were saying, I heard the word HMTD, referring to the explosives.
Yes, yeah, we're discussing it. You familiar with that?
100%. I know these people, and they know exactly how to build. They knew
exactly how to build bombs that could have destroyed this entire building.
Who are these people?
Adam Buff. These people.
Okay.
Yeah, these people.
Not these three individuals in there, I mean, they're lumped in with that.
They are. Yeah,
Brandon.
Brandon's literally somebody that has the knowledge to build a nuclear bomb. I'm not meaning about that. He is literally somebody that he's somebody that literally went to school for 4 years to study radiation specifically to build a nuclear bomb. And
Do you know if these materials are inside that condo right now?
no, there's no nuclear materials. Actually, there is. Yes, there is nuclear materials in that garage. There is some nuclear materials.
Okay, what's in that garage that
In that garage,
concerned about?
HMTD, you have those explosives, you have some ammonium nitrate, I believe, and I know that there's some radiated materials that he was able to bring in through the Bahamas. And because he's a Bahamian citizen, he was able to bring it in.
How did he bring it in?
He brought it in through the airport. He was able to spoof the people that were working there with the TSA.
Okay. And do you know is it kept in a particular vessel inside the garage? Do you know where it's kept?
It's just in the garage, or it's in his in the supply closet in his room.
Okay.
And you'll know it because there's a giant SS flag above a lot of the equipment, ammunition, and stuff like that.
Okay.
You know, the more that I tell you, the more you see the scale of how big things really are.
Yeah, no, this is, absolutely serious stuff. So that's, that's what
So
any
it's
information
not-
you can give me to assist with, like I said, with combating these, these misguided individuals, to say the least. Then, I think we should make the effort to do that.
And it's really like the thing that really shocks me as well with it, and about like a lot of these organizations, is that they're everywhere. They're everywhere, all over America, all over Europe, and stuff like that. You have people constantly planning to bomb migrant centers, constantly planning on bombing government buildings, just like the one that we're sitting in, and stuff like that. You know, it's a real deal. They have a real intent. Like, I need you both to pretty much swear me this is not going to get released. I can't give certain information, but that's on.
What I can do is I can restrict certain information inside the report, okay? Sensitive information. All right. If this is deemed sensitive, which it certainly sounds like you're going that direction, then we can make.
Well, I'm telling you something that
Absolutely.
I'm telling you stuff that the FBI should also be hearing.
Okay.
And I'm telling you things that, agencies all over America, I'm not trying to sound like a schizo, because I know that I'm trampling over words and stuff.
No, you're within control, man. You're good. Keep going.
And these people, I know, like in Russia, in Belarus, and Ukraine, we were talking about people that are embedded with NATO forces, and NATO's not even aware of it. People that literally crucify people and burn them to death in the middle of Ukraine because they're POWs captured captured from separatist forces, and it's horror. Like, there's people in Germany basically planning to place IEDs and stuff like that on roads in Dunkirk and near Berlin and stuff like that to target refugees on buses and things like that.
I know we're talking on a broader scale, and I get. Can you bring me back to let's talk. Well, not just America. I'm going more specific now. Let's talk about your condo. The four of you guys in that condo. Let's back you up to when you converted. What led to your conversion? What was that epiphany you had? Did you come across anything?
I remember I came across the Quran and started reading it. And I was like, this is far better than Mein Kampf. This is far better than any of those.
How'd you come across the Quran in the first one?
It was given to me. I remember I visited a mosque. I wanted to see what it was about. I wanted to see if what I was told was true. And I was wrong about what I had believed about those people. I was wrong about how I felt about certain races of people. I realized that, there's no point in having lingering hatred and stuff like that. There's no point in wanting to kill a man or a little girl just because she's black or Asian.
Arthurs, while recounting his conversion, indicates a shift in his beliefs, expressing that he no longer sees the need to take lives out of sheer hatred. Strangely, he appears to genuinely believe that the murders he committed served a greater purpose or cause despite the resulting tragedy and violence of his actions.
And I remember I really held on to these beliefs, and that really clicked to me, and I started reading into it, and I found the miracles of the Quran and the things that really got it, and that's what really sparked my interest into it. That's what really got me.
Did you have any guidance from anybody else that was maybe more familiar with the faith, or did you just self-taught?
Self-taught.
Okay.
I remember I would go to
I would go, like, this has nothing to do with what happened today, but just a little bit of context.
Yeah, give me some background. Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
I remember I used to go to like the mosque on Sly Avenue, really big mosque. I remember I used to go to Masjid Abu Bakr, and those people are very kind and good-natured people. They wouldn't harm a fly. You know, they don't talk about any of the conflicts or anything like that going on over there. So they're fine. They don't have anything to do with this. Just some context on how I really came to have this and how, unfortunately, things have gone so out of proportion that it's led to what we have right now. You know, I mean, all I can really do at this point.
Well, I know you believe that, but I'm asking specifics. Do you know about any specific plans that these two individuals had?
Yeah, they're planning on going down south to Alligator Alley and destroying 500 kV lines that were going along the road there.
How are they planning on doing that?
They're planning on taking HMTD and placing it at the base of the thing and then blowing it up.
Just these two individuals?
Well, Brandon's
going to be a part of that as well?
Yeah, and I remember...
Did they expect you to be a part of that?
Yeah, they did. I wasn't going to be a part of that, though.
Even with your current faith, they still expect you to go along with it?
Yeah, they were just, I guess. I mean, that's what... I mean, I know for a fact that they wanted me to. I'm just saying, I guess, because they were idiotic to think that I would have went to go do that with them. And I remember with the nuclear materials, he was planning on building a mortar and then firing it into there was a nuclear plant off the coast of Florida, and it's off the coast of Miami, and it's used to power that entire city in Fort Lauderdale and that kind of thing. And they were planning on firing that mortar of nuclear materials in it at that plant into the cooling things that are in the water. If that would have happened, that would have caused a massive, massive reactor failure, which would have led to the entirety of the water around there becoming irradiated. And think about a BP oil spill, except it wipes out parts of the entire eastern seaboard.
What was their purpose for doing that?
Because they want to build the Fourth Reich. They're delusional, man.
Okay.
And like absolutely delusional.
Are there drugs involved? I mean,
no, there's no drugs involved.
This is all unadulterated, just thought. This is just their irrational thought.
It's not just their irrational thought when they're like getting the explosives together. When they're like when they have a guy in the U.S. Army that re-enlisted specifically for the group.
This being Brandon.
No, not Brandon. This is somebody else in the Midwest, Colorado, I think.
Who's that?
Jason.
And Jason's last name?
I don't know his last name.
Okay.
But he re-enlisted. I'm just giving an example. Some of the shit.
Oh, okay.
Like he re-enlisted specifically for the group to go into his supply room and steal stuff, like steal night vision goggles, take huge metric tons of ammunition as time went on. He planned on doing that, and he did do that. He got
What about Brandon? Because Brandon's currently in
he joined specifically for the knowledge and the training, and he wants to use that training against the government. He doesn't care about the United States. I mean, he literally had an American flag at the front door that you trample on every time that he walk in. Like literally, these people join the military specifically to get training, to get access to equipment, and get access to being able to kill people, and they and to be more efficient at doing so.
But we keep talking to these people in generalities. I want to specifically talk about the three individuals that lived through that time. Brandon was the only one that was in the military. Is that correct?
Yes.
Neither you nor the other two.
Actually, he was in the French Foreign Legion for a little bit.
Okay.
And he phased out of it. He said that there were too many blacks in it, so he left. But he was a part of the French Foreign Legion at that point, and not in any armed services or anything like that.
How about you?
No, I was not.
Do any of you besides Brandon have any formal military training?
No.
Was Brandon helping you guys? Was Brandon providing any kind of training to you guys that he was getting knowledge of in the military?
Yeah, Brandon was doing paramilitary trainings and stuff like that.
With you three in particular?
Yeah, with us three and with a few other people.
And how did that go about? Where'd you guys do that?
We would go to the Ocala National Forest, and we would go into where there would be ranges that were pretty much never administrated by the people, and we would shoot. We would shoot like basically SKSs, AK-47s, and stuff like that.
Where did those weapons come from?
Those weapons came from Brandon going to arms list and buying it basically undocumented, which is legal in the state of Florida. But
so he was just buying outright.
Outright.
He wasn't stealing from any armory that he's a part of.
No, he never did that. But because his MOS doesn't give him access to that kind of material.
What is his MOS?
25Q. He's somebody that specializes in communications specific, and he didn't do that because he didn't have access to it. He didn't have he
didn't steal from them specifically because he didn't have access to those materials. And
His motivation was specifically training.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what his.
The arms he would take care of was on his own.
No evidence suggested any form of training of this nature ever occurred. The vast amount of information accessible to Arthur's online presents a challenge in distinguishing reality from fiction, making it a time-consuming task to separate fact from the stories he may have encountered or created.
Yes.
The training I would get from the U.S. military.
Yes.
Okay.
And he was basically like if you go into his condo, there's literally a portrait of Timothy McVeigh on next to his bed. Like this is like.
You ever talk about McVeigh?
Oh yeah, he loved McVeigh. He loved McVeigh. He said that the only thing that McVeigh did wrong is he didn't put more materials inside the truck to bring the whole building down. So I mean, he absolutely venerated McVeigh. He loves North Korea too. Dude literally has a North Korean flag up if you go up the stairs. They're fucking crazy.
Did Brandon ever specifically talk about doing anything similar to that to any government buildings?
Oh, absolutely, all the time.
Any specific ones?
Government offices, federal buildings.
Just in general?
In general.
Did he ever sit down? Did you guys ever sit down together and plot out the operation?
Yeah.
You mentioned the Alligator Alley. Is there some plans that's in plan?
It's not going to happen anymore.
But no, you've taken care of that. But I mean, where are those plans? Where were they found?
Plans were all said verbally. Things were not written down or typed specifically because of this reasoning. However, there's a giant map of the United States where we frequently go there and we would plan and we would look at streets and roads and stuff like that.
But not actually plot anything. It'd be just conversation.
Yes, verbal. And
I wouldn't go into that map and see things circled or
there's nothing circled.
Push pins put in certain targets or anything like that.
Nothing like that.
Okay.
And exactly because of this reasoning. And I remember I tried to throw them off, getting them to do stupid shit that would get them caught.
Such as what?
Such as it's very, very technical, very specific stuff, but I would say stuff like I would give them bomb recipes that were basically duds that wouldn't work specifically, to drive all the way out there and for it to be an operational failure.
Now by they being those two or three of them?
Three of them. It's just that I don't really have that much knowledge on bomb making.
Who has that knowledge?
Brandon. Brandon's an engineer as well as the fact that he studied the radiation stuff.
So Brandon's the brains when it comes to the explosives.
Yeah, absolutely. And
so that stuff in that apartment is him.
Yeah, that stuff is him. But he would also help with giving Brandon money to purchase that stuff and that kind of thing. So
they would fund it, but he was the guy that would handle it.
Yeah.
Those two guys, that would be bad news if they were in there messing around with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
How about you? You got any familiarity with that stuff?
I think I have basic familiarity.
Do you feel comfortable with, or is that again, hey, that's Brandon's thing? I know enough not to
feel comfortable.
Blow us all up.
I feel comfortable if I was to move it around, but I mean a lot of that is not shock sensitive, i.e. that if you were to send people in there, a bomb dispersal unit, to go in there and examine it, it's not shock sensitive stuff. So if you slammed it at the floor, it's not going to explode. Maybe there's something in a cooler with all the duct tape around it that might be shock sensitive.
Is that the garage?
Yeah, it's all in the cooler. Yeah.
Okay.
Brandon's family didn't know about the explosives though.
Does Brandon's family know about what he's into?
Yeah, they don't like it, but they never did anything about it.
Okay, so they acknowledge it, but he's off on his own.
Yeah. It's just, it's really kind of surreal for all this to be happening, because I've heard them saying, that's why I'm kind of saying that entire tape needs to be made sensitive, this entire thing.
Just by you making that statement, it's sensitive, man. It's sensitive material.
All right.
So we're talking about sensitive material, man. You've made that clear. So
all right.
Make sure that we have all the bases covered here. Is there anything else in that apartment or that condo that you think we should be made aware of, especially if we're going to go in there and do any kind of searching or investigation? What's in there that we need to be initially made aware of? You mentioned bombs. You mentioned things in the garage, or at least
the things in the garage are the bombs, pretty much, explosive materials. There is no timed fused bomb there. There are explosive materials there for making bombs.
Nothing's been constructed yet.
Nothing's been constructed yet, but this is clearly stuff that is lined up for the explosives there.
That's the purpose of those items?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the entire purpose of it.
You guys don't build model rockets and go out in the back and shoot?
Weapons and materials used in bomb making were discovered within the apartment. Yet, Another member associated with their group portrayed the occupants as internet trolls rather than genuine threats. According to this perspective, they enjoyed posing for pictures but lacked a concrete purpose or direction. Contrary opinions suggest that the deceased were already losing interest in the movement, transitioning to different stages in their lives and moving away from extremist ideologies.
Or fireworks for 4th of July coming up. Nothing like that.
None of that. It's all literally there specifically to kill people.
Now, if anybody comes across it, is there a plan, an exit strategy? Is there this is what we're going to say, this is to make sure we're all on the same page, this is what we're going to do with this stuff?
No, they never planned that ahead. And whatever planning that they had behind my back is kind of futile at this point.
Well, why did you remain amongst these guys? Now, it begs the question as to why they tolerated you there, but why did you tolerate being around them?
Because I was an idiot, and I was just mainly thinking along the lines of, oh wow, I get to stay here in this really nice apartment, in this really nice condo, while paying a rent of like $120 a month, and I have internet and stuff like that, so I might as well just, stay here.
Okay.
Just deal with the here and there like bullshit,
Were you working?
I've been applying to a lot of places to get jobs, but
How do you pay for your 100 and something rent? I mean, how does that?
I have my own money and stuff like that. So
Where does that come from?
From my parents, pretty much.
Okay, all right.
So I mean, I can. So, I can eat. So like the thing is that it was just really cheap living there. I could get away from my family for a bit, live more independently, and that's the reason why I was there. Unfortunately, I came over, and this whole unfortunate thing is unraveled.
Were you guys living together prior to?
I remember me and Brandon, we lived in an apartment. I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it was an apartment like that before this condo.
Here in Tampa?
Yeah, here in Tampa. I remember I lived with him, and he was a lot more bearable. He was a lot less focusing on this stuff. He was a lot more normal, if that makes sense, like a normal human being.
So you think he has become more focused, to use your words, on the cause recently?
Yeah, I definitely think that, and I think that
has he always been, dabbled in the bomb making stuff, or
like he always liked it of like a hobby type of thing in the past, but now it's just more like
now it's mission oriented. Now it's a purpose.
Now it's like we're going to be insurgents. We're going to kill as many people as we can, and then we're going to do this to try to achieve white revolution, as they call it.
So this was a growing problem.
Oh, absolutely. It was growing, and their numbers kept on growing and stuff like that.
How do you think you would have continued to tolerate this or handle this? Do you think you would have been driven out at some point?
I think that I would have definitely been driven out. Like today, I was at my boiling point. I was posted just messaging. I was literally, I had the Skype open, and I was like about to type like, dude, I'm packing my shit. I'm going back to Orlando. You guys can go fuck off, pretty much. And I was gonna then contact the FBI or some local police to go like that. Like that would have been me.
Did you, when you converted to Muslim?
Yeah.
All right. They were all aware of that.
Yes.
Did at any point in time, did you reach out for any assistance or any guidance or anything from anybody, like on the internet or chatting or anything? Or
no.
Or you just continued to do or listen to what they were doing with their encrypted stuff?
No, I did not. I didn't try to reach. I mean, in hindsight, it's very stupid what I've done. And honestly, like, it feels almost like all of this feels very surreal, like a dream, if that makes sense.
But you mentioned earlier you went to a mosque.
Yeah.
You were starting to kind of self-teach.
Yeah.
When you first discovered the Quran, when you were provided the Quran and you were reading it, then you went to a mosque, the one on Sly Avenue.
Yeah.
You went there and you immersed yourself in the people that you were targeting up to that point, and realized, you know what, these people aren't.
Yeah.
They're not the problem.
Yeah. So exactly.
So you kind of got caught up in that in the religious faith.
Yeah.
They weren't. There was no one specifically there that pulled you aside and said, listen.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're planning some things too against this other group.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. No clue. Like those people, like they don't even know me by name at that place because I go there specifically to read the resources and stuff like that were there at that place.
So they're just there to serve out their faith and religion as any other Christian would do in whatever denominational church a Christian would attend.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And is that with you and immersing yourself in that, the self-teachings, the readings, you're saying that's how you kind of came around to thinking the way you do now?
Yes.
No outside source
outside
that
source.
recruited you
Yeah,
or
no,
however you
Yeah,
read about today.
there is no outside source, no.
Okay, the outside source that you were a part of is this other group that has been, in your head for a while.
Yeah, and I've been trying to find a way to get away for a while now, and so I'm already a dead man.
Well, do you think that whatever plan that you guys were going to carry out, specifically the lines down on Alligator Alley, do you think someone else is Brandon going to continue? Do you think it's still going to happen?
Oh, absolutely. Well, no, it's not going to happen. Brandon's entire condo is now a police quarantine. He doesn't have access to the materials. He doesn't have access to the manpower.
But he could get it again.
Arthurs holds the belief that his actions dismantled the group's alleged plot. However, if this group truly had the extensive reach he claims, it's doubtful that the deaths of 2 members and the loss of the apartment's contents would suffice to halt their activities or objectives.
He could, but it would take a while for him to do that.
Okay, why is that? It's not something he acquires quickly?
Well, it's just not something he acquires quick.
How does he acquire this stuff?
I don't exactly know, but he just gets it through channels that, through legal and illegal means. By illegal means, he'll purchase it off of people that he meets, and I don't know anything about that, but I know that he just purchased it off of people. He went to USF, so he had access to a lot of these classrooms that had these chemicals, and he just steal them. Okay. And he also would purchase them legally, but in the smaller packets, and over time buy, a lot of them, so it culminate in having a much bigger, quantity of them.
So you weren't necessarily part of that operation?
No.
You're aware of it because you're there.
Yeah,
you're aware of it because you're part of the group, and at one point you were a card-carrying member, really pushing forth the message.
Yes.
And then at some point you started to kind of get away from that. You found something, something better.
Yeah.
More worthwhile. But you were still there. You were still around all of it. So you were aware of it through that.
Yes.
Do I understand that right? You weren't actually going out and being a part of this at that point.
Yes.
But these 3 were still there. They were still on the cause.
Yes.
And you were just privy to all that.
Yes. I'm very, very concerned that when I go to the next place, I'd much rather, if I can, go to a hospital or immediately see the doctors when I go to the jail.
At the very least, be kept separate.
Yeah, absolutely. In an isolated chamber and talk to the people at B, and they can pretty much, try to get me on the right stuff.
They can do like a keep separate from you. It's kind of confining for you, but
Sounds like kind of safe one though.
Well, I'm not concerned about the other inmates that would be there. I'm just concerned mainly of I'm very prone to getting angry a lot. I'm very to the point where I think that I might be kind of sick in that sense. Mm-hmm. And I want to get help for that. I want to be able to get the proper help. I think that I would much rather be at a mental hospital where I should have been, because my family's been telling me, go to a hospital, try to get this stuff sorted and stuff like that. And I'd very much like to go do that. I'd like to see my opportunities in trying to get my mind in place, because obviously, I don't feel like I'm capable of living day to day, like any other normal citizen. I feel like I just really want to get the mental help that I can. I don't feel.
You think it's beyond your religious beliefs. You don't think that you can find that help in your faith. You think?
I think that my faith certainly helped me, but when it comes to psychiatric help, that's more of a medical thing.
Right. Okay. So you think that's where you have to go. That's
definitely, absolutely. Yeah, I think that that I would definitely be better off just going to a hospital or something like that and just spending time there trying to get my mind sorted.
Do you know their families? And are they still in?
Yeah.
Does he have any family here?
No.
How about?
I didn't meet his family, but they're with him.
Also.
Yeah.
How'd you guys meet?
Me and Brandon drove up to pretty much. I went with him because I figured here's a cheap trip. I can go.
What was the purpose of going there? What was the purpose of you guys going there?
Recreation. To meet with them. Recreation as well as networking for the group at that time.
If you were to give any advice to the FBI or any other law enforcement groups to identify this group or the channels that are associated with this group, where would they start? Where would you suggest they start?
It's too complicated for an answer. I mean, they could, I would really need to like meet with them, and I need to show them like the resources and stuff like that needed. It's such a huge answer that it's,
Yeah. Is there other resources, online resources, or are we talking about personal resources? Or?
Online and personal resources, and like it's absolutely huge. Like like the answer itself, like it'd be too simple for me to say like Iron March, because
Iron March and Stormfront you mentioned too.
Iron March, well, like Stormfront's just an example of like a fascist like forum pretty much.
Okay.
Iron March is an example of like a wholehearted, like everybody on there is very very like dedicated, huge numbers of Adam Waffen guys on there, and you know, I remember Adam Waffen, like I say Waffen because it's like Waffen is in arms. Like,
Yeah, they spelled for me.
yeah, ATOMWAFFEN.
Okay.
So that's how it's spelled.
So Adam, like Adam Bomb.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
Arthurs recognizes the need for therapy, yet he fails to acknowledge the connection between seeking help and his past actions. He maintains a belief that his actions were morally justified, seemingly unable to reconcile the need for therapy with the perceived righteousness of his deeds.
Because he's a nuclear physicist and trained to be for a few years. So when
Brandon, you didn't create this group. This group was created. You guys be
created
part
by
of it.
Brandon, yeah.
Oh, Brandon created it.
Yeah, Brandon created
okay.
this group, and I got it. Like I mainly like figure in my head like if I could get like a meeting with an FBI agent or something like that, I could shut down like not just Adam Waffen but several other organizations. Like
We could probably facilitate that.
I would very much like to do that.
What? Were you with Brandon when he created this?
I was not with Brandon.
Did you meet him through this? When he created it, did you meet him through?
I met him through the Tiny Chat, but that's just like I said, YouTube. It's like huge channel.
But did you meet him with this common interest?
Yeah, which was specifically like neo-Nazism, and I remember.
Okay, so and that's how it kind of sparked your conversation with him.
Yeah.
Had he already created Adam Waffen at that point?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but it was very small at the time and stuff like that, and as the years went on, like just kept on getting bigger and bigger, and more, people came on board with more radical views and stuff.
But that was
like
by design, wasn't that? It was kind of
it was.
Some of these people in the military?
Yes.
Okay, and you mentioned earlier, and I just want to bring you back to it, you mentioned earlier that one of them had actually re-upped, went back in just for that.
Yeah, re-enlisted specifically to steal resources.
Jason in Colorado, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And he if I could just talk to an FBI agent, like individually or something like that, if I could get my computer as resources, I could show them like all these channels and stuff like that.
So on your computer, there's the stuff that you've been a part of with this, and it would be examples of what I'm talking about here. So when you say that's simple,
you can find encrypted channels. You could find names easily. You can find people that I've been in contact with and stuff like that. It'd be very easy to identify who these people are.
Through your resources.
Yeah,
you
my
still
resources.
have. You didn't say
I didn't
when you converted. You didn't say, you know what, I'm putting this behind me. I'm ghosting the entire computer. I'm done. I'm moving on to something better.
Yeah,
that's still there.
No, it's still there. Yeah. And
what about just Brandon and? They had similar computers.
They have like laptops and phones and that kind of thing. It'd be very easy to go through it and find.
That's not down there.
Yeah, phone contacts, wire chats, stuff like that. Very very easy to get through that. A lot of these programs don't require, like Wire specifically doesn't require like a password or user. So if you just open it up on either of their things, you can find the resources.
So you would need, in order to educate anyone else that would be further investigating this group, you think having your computer, an FBI agent as you requested, sit down and go over this stuff, you think then you would open some eyes? You think
Yeah, I definitely do. I think that it would open some eyes to a much bigger thing than what happened today. And I think that could definitely, basically save a lot of lives overall. I think that could.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
you would be willing to sit down with an FBI agent and explain a lot of this stuff?
Yes, absolutely.
And you
I want to.
Okay. Usernames and passwords.
Yeah.
You remember them? I mean,
I don't even need them. I can just,
like your phone, what kind of phone do you have?
I have a shitty, old phone, like it's a flip phone. But
Okay, so it's not, so you don't have like a set password?
There's no password for it.
What about the computer?
My password is buzzed. That's what it is.
B-U-Z-Z-E-D?
Yeah, B-U-Z-Z.
All caps, all lowercase?
All lowercase. All lowercase.
Lowercase buzzed?
Yeah.
Is your computer still, you said you were on it before all this happened. Did you shut everything down or is it still
No,
open?
still on. Still on. I lost it.
Any kind of booby traps on it where if,
No.
I'm not talking about like bullet explosions, but anything would just shut down and
No.
erase if somebody didn't.
No, but Brandon's computer, I know for a fact, actually has on his computer he has encrypted. But I know that don't have that. FBI would not have a problem getting into brute forcing into those electronics. I mean,
What about username? That's password, but what about
there's no
username?
username for Windows logins for these computers. You don't need to put in the username for these.
Arthur's eagerness to engage with the FBI raises a significant question. Why did he not choose to contact them with the information he possessed before resorting to shooting his roommates?
Okay, so just the password you said buzzed?
Yeah.
But what about, did you have a Facebook at all?
No.
No Facebook?
Any social media at all?
Well, actually, now that I think about it, I don't have a Facebook that I used for my own personal use. I had it for messaging people, but I used a fake name, and there's nothing on there that can be really found. It's just something that I used for petty, stupid shit, like playing Facebook games and stuff like that.
What was that? What's the name of that? Facebook?
I think it was John Coleman or something, but it's not really relevant to the case or anything like that.
No, but just so you know, obviously in this day and age, it's going to be a standard question. Well, everybody's got a Facebook. He must have a Facebook. This is what he has. So they can look at it and say, oh yeah, you're right. This is used for nothing more than petty games.
It's just, it's still really overwhelming. All of it, it's
All that's happened?
Yeah, all that's
well,
happened.
In the meantime, you've also expressed on numerous occasions that you wish to reach out to the FBI specifically about maybe doing some good, having some good come from this horrible event today.
Yeah.
And it may be something worthwhile. I mean, they're going to obviously be made aware of this, and they're going to do their homework to ensure that. Listen, and this is just speaking from a practical standpoint, just to make sure that you're not talking out your ass about something here in order to maybe gain some favorable treatment.
No,
okay, they have to confirm. No, I'm saying this is what they're going to listen to this and say, well, let's make sure this stuff's actually.
Well, I mean, the main thing that is really true if you ever just walked into the condo. If you walk into the condo, it's going to seem really out of whack. You have giant North Korea, you have a big North Korea.
Yeah, it's gonna. It sounds like what you've painted a picture of is going to reek of neo-Nazi. Yeah, absolutely. And
I'm terrified of that happening with me. That will get people killed. That doesn't just endanger me. That endangers your lives as well.
I don't condone that type of thing from police departments. We don't operate that way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what happens in here is for strictly legal purposes. It's not for entertainment purposes, which is what I consider that kind of stuff.
We would not release something like this.
No.
This is part of this case.
All right, I appreciate that.
And that's more important than...
Yeah.
I'm trying not to be like an ass or anything.
You're not,
and
man,
I
you're not.
understand that. It's just your lives would be endangered too. I'm just saying.
We don't necessarily have a subjective thought in this whole situation, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So we're in the business of just getting the truth out there. We're not in the business of putting anyone else's life in danger. Matter of fact, we're in the business of preventing.
Devin Arthurs faced charges, including 2 counts of first-degree murder, 3 counts of armed kidnapping, and 2 counts of aggravated assault following the events. Since 2020, he has undergone competency restoration treatment, as experts advise the court that his mental condition rendered him incapable of comprehending court proceedings rationally. Diagnosed with schizophrenia, autism, and other conditions, Arthurs awaits trial, which is still pending. His expressions of concern for both his and the detective's safety, coupled with signs of paranoia, suggests the complexity of his mental state during the investigation. Remember, it's your curiosity that fuels this channel. Keep exploring, stay inspired, and join us for more amazing content next time.